I know there's a lot of vanilla lovers out there, but there's also vanilla haters out there. Are you a vanilla lover or a hater? Do let me know. Put a comment down below so I can find out. Well, I have to say this video is for the vanilla lovers out there. This is a list of 20 spiciest vanilla fragrances in an unranked list. If you want to find out what they are, then please stay tuned. Thanks so much for tuning in. It's Sebastian. We're talking about the spiciest vanilla fragrances. I've got a list of 20 here. And then I also have a bonus option as well that we're going to discuss after the outro. But let's get started really quickly. Again, this is an unranked list, and I'm putting this fragrance here at the very beginning because it's brand spanking new. It's from the house of MANCERA. It's AMORE CAFFE, this one right here. This one is inspired by an affogato, one of my favorite desserts to have. I'm obsessed with espresso, cappuccinos, coffee in general. This is combining my love for vanilla ice cream and, you know, dripping and drizzling all of that espresso on top of it and having it as a dessert. So, so delicious. So MANCERA's AMORE CAFFE is vanilla ice cream, black coffee, vanilla, amaretto liqueur, vanilla pods, brown sugar, and gray amber. So it's lots of vanilla, but you do have the spicy touches coming in here. You get some spiciness from the coffee that's in here, and then some of the other things in here like the amaretto liqueur and the amber gris. But this is, I mean, I can't believe how good this is. I was really surprised at how great Tonka Cola was or is. This stuff is even better. For the vanilla lover and the coffee lover, I do have to say it does dry down to more of a spicy vanilla. The coffee does disappear, but pretty much that's what happens with an affogato anyway. You know, the ice cream melts inside the cup or the glass that you have the ice cream and the espresso in, and it becomes kind of like a latte, but more of the vanilla kind. This is delicious. You're going to hear a lot more about this in the next couple of weeks and months, but this is AMORE CAFFE from the house of MANCERA. Starting off also at number 2 here, it's a Tobacco Vanille for one of the spiciest vanilla fragrances. It's really spicy with some of the spicy notes in here, but also the tobacco in here does give me a spicy edge. So it really does spike the spiciness in this. It's more of a dry vanilla in comparison to the AMORE CAFFE, which was definitely the kind of syrupy, the kind of moist kind of wear rather than the dry. This one definitely has the dryness, but it's tobacco flower, tobacco leaves, vanilla, cocoa, ginger, dried fruits, and spices. For me, I get some dirty ashiness from the tobacco in here, even though it says tobacco leaf. And I like that dirtiness against the kind of sweet vanilla that's in here. But you have the spiciness from the ginger and some of the other spices that come in. Like there's holiday spice-like touches in this fragrance in comparison to like the spiciness of AMORE CAFFE. But again, also really, really wonderful offering. One of my favorite fragrances from Tom Ford. It's Tobacco Vanille. Definitely worth mentioning here in the spiciest vanilla fragrances. Moving on to the house of DIPTYQUE, it's Eau de Duelle into Eau de Parfum concentration. Eau de Parfum concentration fragrances from DIPTYQUE have black all around them, and they come in 75 ml bottles, whereas the Eau de Toilettes come in 100 ml and also a 50 ml. And this has been a great favorite fragrance of mine from DIPTYQUE. It's definitely uber spicy with that vanilla that's in here, and it's bourbon vanilla, incense, pink peppercorn, calamus, and the calamus adds a bit of greenness running against the spices that are in here, the smokiness from the incense, and then also that vanilla. It does act very syrupy to me, but contrasted with all the dryness from the pink peppercorns and the incense. And the incense does add smokiness in this. It cuts through the sweetness for sure. And then of course, blending the pink peppercorn in here throws in a bit of rosiness against all these really spicy, smoky, incensey, resinous notes against the vanilla that's in here, which is very, very delicious. You might come off, this might come off a bit boozy as well, but definitely one of the best from DIPTYQUE is Eau de Duelle. Love that fragrance. Next, a newer fragrance, one of the extracts from Guerlain. It's Vanille Planifolia Extrait 21. Very highly priced. It's quite expensive, but I quite like this one. I really, really do enjoy the spiciness of this one, and I like the muskiness in here as well. The way the fragrance is made, I really, really appreciate it, and it wears really long on me, and I like the fact that it has a kind of a resinous, ambery dry down for a very spicy, boozy vanilla that's in here. So it has notes of vanilla, musk, spicy notes, Opopanine, which is basically an ambery accord, although maybe like a Opopanax kind of a thing as well. And the spices in here are a bit nondescript, so you don't get to really notice the spices. But for me, the spice that really stands out in here that you will notice is the pepper. So I feel like we've got not only black pepper and pink pepper, and this is a great note. You'll see black pepper or pink pepper come up quite a bit with vanilla. It really does contrast really nicely, and it makes for a really intoxicating smell, adding that spiciness from the pink or black pepper in here against that syrupy, sticky, sweet powderiness of the vanilla. Super delicious. Again, it's overpriced, but it's super amazing, very long lasting. I love the way it smells. This is Vanille Planifolia Extrait 21 from the house of GUERLAIN. Let me know if you're a fan of these fragrances so far. This next one is definitely one of my favorite fragrances of 2023 and one of my favorite vanilla fragrances of 2023. And it's actually not necessarily the most gourmand vanilla fragrance, but it's super spicy, molecular a bit, got musky notes, and also woods. There's also very interesting woods in this one. This is Vanille Supermassive from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales. Have you gotten your nose on that one? I absolutely really love this one and the way it wears. And it's the kind of vanilla you can also wear in some warm weather rather than really cold weather days. It's vanilla, labdanum, caramel, patchouli, elemi, ambroxan, cinnamon, white musks, bergamot, and fir balsam for a very unique take on vanilla. It's so different than any other vanilla fragrances I have, but it definitely fits the brand. Everything from this brand is super sexy, and this is definitely a very sexy, musky, woody take on vanilla. Not necessarily gourmand, so if you like gourmand, this might not be it for you. But if you like the idea of vanilla that's not gourmand, you definitely need to get your nose on Vanille Supermassive from the house of Les Eaux Primordiales. Let me know if you've tried that one, because I find it to be really amazing, and I find this brand to be one of my favorite discoveries of the last couple of years. Up next, going to the house of KAYALI, it's Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli 64, and it's a lot of different notes together. First of all, we got a sugared patchouli, which is, that's going to cut through the vanilla, but it's lots of vanilla and patchouli together, and it's a nice combination. I like this combination. They work really wonderfully together. The earthiness, the woodiness, the sparkliness of the patchouli, the syrupy, powdery, sweet stickiness of the vanilla together, really wonderful. Then they've added brown sugar in this, oud, spicy notes, sugar, amber, musk, creme brulee, rum, leather. There's a lot going on in here. It's pretty sweet to begin with, but whatever patchouli is in here does tone it down as well, which creates for a little more balance. But those of you that don't like sugary sweet fragrances, you might not like this one. But I like it. I like the contrast of the patchouli and all the sugary notes with the sweet vanilla that's in here, and of course everything else that comes in, including the spices to give it a spicy kick. So it's KAYALI's Vanilla Royale Sugared Patchouli 64 at number 5. Next, going to the house of DIOR, it's Vanilla DIORAMA. Definitely a solid release from the DIOR Privé collection, and I know a lot of you guys are complaining because I reported recently that a lot of the older DIOR Privé fragrances were discontinued. If you follow me on Instagram, you will know. But I really think that Francois Demachet created one of the best fragrances in the Privé collection before he left. This is the last fragrance I believe he created for DIOR in the Privé collection, and I absolutely love it. It's become a favorite of mine. Lemons, oranges, pink pepper, cardamom, bourbon vanilla. There's a bit of chocolatiness in here, inspired by a sweet dessert that Christian Dior used to have at Maxime's, and I think they've done a great job with all the notes. It's spicy, syrupy, sticky, sweet, ambery, a bit boozy. Also the citruses do come in for a really intoxicating smell. So it's DIOR's Vanilla DIORAMA from the house of DIOR, of course. Next, going to the house of YSL, it's BABYCAT. Gotta feature this one. You know what? I've actually gotten really into this fragrance once again recently. Traveling at the airport, I smelled this. After you get through the security, you go to the duty free, and you want to spritz with some fragrance, and the only thing I could find that I really wanted to wear was this. And man, this thing lasts, and especially if it gets on clothes, it clings on and lasts. And the cool thing is, there was all this rumor that this was discontinued. I saw it everywhere, so I'm happy it's not, because I think this is a really, really great fragrance, and I love this vanilla. It's different. I would call this more of an incense vanilla, and I like the fact that the incense and vanilla do work wonderfully together. It's vanilla with olibanum, black pepper, saffron, cedar, suede, elemi, pink pepper. There's spices here for sure. Not only does the olibanum create a spiciness and a bit of a magic trickery to make you think maybe there's a lot of black pepper in here, but there's that in there along with the pink pepper, so there's smokiness in here with the vanilla. And this is a dry kind of vanilla, so it's not sticky, syrupy. Definitely sweet, but you're toning down the sweetness with all the incense and spices in here. And gotta mention also that there's a leathery end or leathery touch with this one, with that suede accord, but fantastic fragrance. One of the best fragrances that Dominique Ropion has created, and it's a given that he's created this plus a few others that smell like this one because it's so good. So this is YSL's BABYCAT, but I should say this is the one that started it all. First, this is Laboratorio Olfativo's Vanagloria. If you can't get yourself a bottle of BABYCAT, this is the alternative, and it's also much cheaper. This is like 180 for 100 ml, and the BABYCAT's almost $100 more for, I believe it's more juice though in this one. It's a 125 ml here, so maybe it balances out. But both of them are very similar, created by Dominique Ropion. It's basically a combination of vanilla and incense together. You might notice some minute differences between the two, but in the end, they're very, very close. If you like the idea of the vanilla, the incense together with the leather and the spices and all that good stuff, definitely check out the Laboratorio Olfativo Vanagloria. I have a link in the info box. And also, you should go search my comparison video of those two fragrances. You'll learn more about those two. So next up, we've got a fragrance from the house of Parfums de Marly. We've got two fragrances back to back. First of which is Herod. Herod is still one of my favorite fragrances from Parfums de Marly. I just wish it was a bit louder, but I enjoy this DNA, really love it. And it smells super fantastic with what Olivier Pechot has done with this one. It's tobacco, vanilla, cinnamon, osmanthus, incense. So there's spices in here. There's definitely warmth. There's fruitiness coming in from the osmanthus, a little leather, but lots of tobacco, and it's the ashy kind against the vanilla. It smells super amazing. I think the DNA itself is great. I think Olivier Pechot has created a really, really great fragrance here with Herod. And yeah, it's a wonderful offering, still a favorite of mine for the house of Parfums de Marly. Then we've got another fragrance from Parfums de Marly. It's Altaire. This one right here that came out last year. It's become very popular, and it's definitely the dry kind of vanilla in this one. Bourbon vanilla with pralines, cinnamon, ambrox, musk, cardamom, bergamot, orange blossom, elemi, gaiac. It's a really, really robust fragrance, and it's definitely in line with something that does hint at lightly some of their previous fragrances like Leighton, Carlisle, and so on. So it fits the Parfums de Marly, catalog of fragrances, and it's a really great take on vanilla. Really robust, intense, very spicy, musky, and of course has some light gourmand touches with the overdose of the bourbon vanilla. It's a really great fragrance. I still prefer the Herod, even though it's not as robust as this, because I find the Herod to be a bit more original in smell compared to this. I do find other fragrances that do remind me of this one, but still, I think Marly's done a great job with it. So that's Altaire, I should say. I always forget the way that's pronounced. It's Altaire from the house of Marly. And then going to the house of Essential Parfums, it's Divine Vanille, this one right here. And going back to Herod once again, these two are very similar. They're created by the same perfumer. It's Olivier Pechot, who passed away last year, sadly. So he's left us some great fragrances in the world for us to consume. And this is the less expensive alternative. This is called Divine Vanille. This is Herod, which is a tobacco fragrance. So I feel like the notes have been switched around a little bit. So with the Divine Vanille, you get a little more vanilla, I believe, when you're wearing it compared to the Herod. But in the end, they're very similar fragrances. It's tonka, benzoin, cinnamon, osmanthus, tobacco, dried fruits, cedar, patchouli, musks. It's a very spicy take on vanilla and tobacco. And always tobacco adds some spice to the fragrances as well as, once they have featured it in vanilla fragrances. But either way, both of them are great. If you're on a budget, get this one. This is under $100. If you have have the money, you can always get this at the discounter as well. But suggested retail, it's about $300 and some. But either way, Divine Vanille from Essential Parfums, really an awesome offering. Then Marley's sister house of Initio Parfums, we've got Absolute Aphrodisiac here for a bit musky and lightly animalic take on vanilla. It creates a super sexy smell, which is really, really fantastic. I was a late discoverer of this one. I discovered it during the pandemic, and I was really, really wowed by how great it is. It's not as loud as I want it to be. It's kind of like a similar loudness to Herod, which is fine. You don't have to have them room fillers all the time, but this stuff is really, really amazing. It's a vanilla, amber, castoreum, leather, musk, and white flowers. So the leather castoreum combo does create the animalic touch. The musk comes in here, adds this really kind of muskiness, this very interesting authentic musk experience against all that vanilla and amber, and then to come in with some white floral notes in there as well to give you a little bit of a contrast with some fresh floral notes that's against the vanillic and ambery notes and all the animalic leathery notes. A really great fragrance. It's Absolute Aphrodisiac from the house of Initio Parfums. Do you know that one? Let me know. Put a comment down if you are a fan of it. This next fragrance from the house of Atelier des Ors is Lune Feline for a spicy, musky vanilla fragrance from Atelier des Ors. I discovered back in 2015. Been a fan of this one for a long time. There is a bit of a medicinal edge about this one. It's also very, very balsamic, but it's lots of cinnamon with the vanilla, the Peru balsam. There's also cardamom here, ambergris, woods, and styrax. It does come off a bit animalic, but it's a super delicious vanilla. It also hints at a little bit of this one right here, Eau Duelle, but they're different, you know, they're different. They're spicy for sure, but I get more of a medicinal, musky, light animalic stuff coming in with the Atelier des Ors. Not like an overwhelming animalic in comparison to the Diptyque, but a really great fragrance. This is Lune Feline from the house of Atelier des Ors. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. Next, going to the house of MFK, Maison Francis Kurkdjian. This is Gentle Fluidity Gold. Gold and silver, you're supposed to combine them to create a kind of a unique fragrance because they're opposite notes contrasted. So in one fragrance you have some notes stronger than others, and it's the reverse in the other. Here it's more about the vanillic notes, lots of vanillic notes. Juniper berries are in here as well, musk, coriander, nutmeg, and woodsy notes. So it creates for a very syrupy, sweet, powdery, spicy vanilla. It's a really delicious. I wasn't really into this collection much, but now I've gotten into them. I don't combine them much, the two different ones, because I like them for what they are on their own. And this is the vanilla fragrance of Maison Francis Kurkdjian, and I think he's done a great job with this one. Definitely a great spicy vanilla, warm, spicy, Gentle Fluidity Gold. If you don't know that one, check it out. But moving on to the house of Byredo, it's Vanille Antique, this one right here. This one is a kind of a fruity, plummy take on boozy as well, because I get major booziness with this one. Kind of a vanilla fragrance. It's in the Extracts collection, so it only comes in a 50 ml bottle. It does have great longevity here. It's amber, white woods, vanilla, plum, labdanum, and musk. So basically you do have some ambery base when the fragrance is drying down, and then the musk together creates for a really nice vanillic, ambery, musky base, but you have the white woods as well, and then also the fruitiness of the plum. For me, this fragrance is mostly about the heart and the base notes. Not much goes on in the top notes, and there's no real mention of any spices, but the fragrance does wear very spicy, and I'm assuming we're getting some spice from the notes like labdanum and things like that. But either way, this is Vanille Antique from the house of Byredo. Really wonderful offering. Next, going to the house of Celine, it's Black Tie. This one right here. Black Tie is a really, really fantastic fragrance from Celine. They have done a great job with this one. I think this is definitely probably the most popular offering from this house. It makes sense because everybody seems to like it, everyone that I speak to about it. It's vanilla, orris, cedar, moss, and musk. And for me, it's got the DNA of Celine fragrances. You go from one to the other and you'll pick up a DNA. And I think they've used one perfumer. I don't know who it is because they've not revealed the perfumers of these fragrances. fragrances, but you can tell it's one person. They've got a DNA and it goes from one to the other. They're very cohesive. But the Celine Black Tie is a super amazing, powdery, syrupy, delicious vanilla fragrance. It's very dressy for me. I really like that. This is definitely, maybe it's subconscious because the name is Black Tie, but I feel like dressing up when I smell this one. But either way, Celine Black Tie. In the end, a lot of Celine fragrances are coming off very dressy. But moving on to Guerlain, once again, it's Angelique Noir, this one right here. I left off Spirituous Double Vanille because I didn't want to feature 3 vanilla fragrances from them, but Angelique Noir definitely wanted to be on here. Well, it didn't want it to be on here. I wanted it to be on here. So it's a kind of a green vegetal take on vanilla, which is kind of cool because it's mostly vanilla, sweet, gourmand, but the angelica comes in. The seeds and the roots are in this. They create this very interesting contrast. Man, it's a really, really wonderful contrast, which is a great wear. It also has some pear and cedar and also pink pepper. So there's this spiciness that comes in of the pink pepper note, which contrasts through the syrupy vanilla as well. If you're kind of tired of the straightforward vanilla like Spirituous Double Vanille, you should try Angelique Noir. I think it's a really unique and original smell that's super fantastic. So this is Spirituous Double Vanille from the house of Guerlain. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. It's a really, really great fragrance. Up next, going to the house of Penhaligon's. This is Babylon, this one right here. Are you a fan of Babylon? Babylon is a great fragrance, one of the best from Penhaligon's. It's a really smooth, syrupy, almost toffee-like. It's almost like I get like this chocolate caramel smoothness in this one, which is really interesting. I don't know why, but it's vanilla, cedar, sandalwood, cypriol, nutmeg, saffron, and coriander. So there's some leathery touches in this one. That cypriol adds this kind of barrel-aged, smoky, kind of woody characteristic to this one. It's smooth for sure. The sandalwood is creamy and lots of vanilla. You're swimming in vanilla with this one. Very much lots of vanilla, and it's super delicious. It, again, like I said, it does act a bit like toffee for me. Sticky, syrupy, sweet, and also lots of spices as well. The spices comes in and gives you warmth, lots of warmth. Although we've got nutmeg, which is warm, and then a coriander, which is fresh. A nice contrast of warmth and freshness in this one, which is Babylon. Wonderful offering from this house. Let me know if you're a fan of that one. Until I get my hands and nose on Silky Woods, the new one, I'm going to recommend the original because I really love Silky Woods. Silky Woods is great from Goldfield & Max, my favorite, and I'm dying to get my nose on the new version. I hear it's not as vanilla though. We'll see what it is. But Tahitian vanilla, oud, cinnamon, tobacco leaves, ylang ylang, sandalwood, and incense. This to me, even though it has the oud and tobacco, basically those notes add some depth to the fragrance. It's mostly vanilla, syrupy, sweet, sticky, delicious caramelly take on vanilla with lots of spices. There's warm spices. There's some floral notes in here, lots of woods, and the incense also creates a bit of a peppery spice in here to give it a very, very delicious take on a vanilla fragrance. Wonderful offering. It's Silky Woods, the original. Have you gotten your nose on the Extrait yet? Do let me know. Put a comment down. I'd like to find out. I'm going to get my nose on it very soon and I'll report back. And we're going to end the list with, remember, it's not ranked, this is an unranked list. It's Insolo from the house of Jeroboam. This is a great spicy vanilla, really, really super spicy vanilla. Remember, I didn't put every vanilla fragrance here because it had to be spicy. And what I like about this one, it's dry and it's an extract, so a little goes a long way because it has great longevity. But I really, really love the vanilla in here. It's not as syrupy. There's a syrupiness, but when I wear it after the syrupiness fades away, it does end up being like more powdery and dry. But in the end, it's lots of musk, it's vanilla, and then of course jasmine. And I think the combination of some notes are contributing to create a spiciness here. But also there might be some additional notes that they've left off and not featured in this fragrance. But either way, it's a wonderful offering. Really, really amazing fragrance from the house of Jeroboam. Small bottles, easy to carry. It's Insolo. Check it out if you don't know it. And one last thing I should say, these two fragrances do remind me of one another. Do you guys get the similarities? Either way, that's all I have for you. 20 spiciest fragrances. Let me know if you're a fan of these fragrances. If you are, put a comment down below so I can find out. Let me know if there are any other spicy fragrances that you're a fan of that I did not mention today. Put a comment down so I can find out. But either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, list below. Please like this video. Please share it. Follow me on Instagram and Facebook. And I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So last but not least, I do want to feature this budget fragrance, although I should warn you, the budget prices are no longer as budget as they used to be. For some reason, the prices are going up, up, up. I bought Mercedes-Benz Club Black for around 45 bucks. Lately, it's gone up to 50, 55, 60, and now I'm seeing it around 70 bucks. So I don't know what's going on. Maybe there's a shortness of supply or whatever, but it's a great spicy vanilla that was at one time really inexpensive. It's vanilla, benzoin, woodsy notes, ambroxan, incense, jasmine, and bergamot. And I do have to say these two do remind me of one another. They're not identical, they just remind me of one another. In the end, this is created by Olivier Cresp. This fragrance, the Altair, is created by Hamid Muradi Kashani and Elias Ermenides. So they're using the similar ingredients because they work in the same firm. So perhaps the ingredients that they're using smell similar. But either way, both fragrances are great. I love them, but wonder what's going on with the fact that you can't find really great deals on Mercedes-Benz Club Black anymore. If you're a fan of it, let me know. Put a comment down. And thanks so much for watching today. I'll be back with more videos very soon. Bye-bye.